Words of our Divine Mother from the book Path of Prayer, selections from the works of Mother and Aurobindo. Page 14, topic Prayer and Faith. Our Divine Mother says, "You see, it is difficult to pray if one does not have faith. But if one can make prayer a means of increasing one's faith or having an aspiration to have faith, most of these qualities require an effort. If one does not have a thing and wants to have it, well, it needs great sustained efforts, a constant aspiration, an unflagging will, a sincerity at each moment. Then one is sure it will come one day, it can come in a second. There are people who have it and then they have contrary moments which come and attack. These people, if their will is sincere, can shield their faith and repel the attacks. There are others who cultivate doubt because it is a kind of dilettantism that there's nothing more dangerous than that. It is as though one were letting the worm into the fruit. It eventually eats it up completely. This means that when a moment of this sort comes, it is usually comes first in the mind, and the first thing to do is to be very determined to refuse it. Surely one must not enjoy looking on just to see what is going to happen. That kind of curiosity is terribly dangerous. It is perhaps more difficult for intellectuals to have faith than for those who are very simple, sincere, who are straightforward without intellectual complications. But I think that if an intellectual person has faith, then that becomes very powerful, a very powerful thing which can truly work miracles. These are the words from the Collective Works of the Mother, Volume 6, page 121. Next topic, prayers full of trust. Our Divine Mother says, well, when one aspires for the force, when one asks the Divine for help, if one asks with the unshakable certitude that it will come, that it is impossible that it won't, then it is sure to come. It is this kind. Yes, this is truly an inner opening, this trustfulness. And some people are constantly in this state. When there is something to be received, they are always there to receive it. There are others, when there is something to have a force descends, they are always absent. They are always closed at that moment, while those who have this childlike trust are always there at the right time. And it is a strange thing, isn't it? Outwardly, there is no difference. They have exactly the same goodwill, the same aspiration, the same wish to do good. But those who have this smiling confidence within them do not question, do not ask themselves whether they will have it or not, whether the divine will answer or not. The question does not rise at all. It is something understood. What I need will be given to me. If I pray, I shall have an answer. If I am in difficulty, ask for help. The help will surely come, and not only will it come, it will manage everything. If this trust is there, spontaneous, candid, unquestioning, it works better than anything else, and the results are marvelous. It is with this, the contradictions and the doubts of the mind, that one spoils everything, with this kind of notion which comes when one is in difficulty. Oh, it is impossible, I shall never manage it, and if it is going to be aggravated, if this condition I am in, which I don't want, is going to go still worse, if I continue to slide down further and further, if like that, if one builds a wall between one's own self and the force which is wanting to come down for you to receive. The psychic being has this trust, has it wonderfully, without a shadow, without an argument, without a contradiction. And when it is like this, there is not a prayer which does not get an answer, no aspiration which is not realized. These are the golden words from our Divine Mother from Collective Works of the Mother, Volume 6, page 403. Next topic, types of prayers and aspiration. Our Divine Mother says there is purely mechanical, material prayer, which words which have been learnt are mechanically repeated. that does not signify anything much, and that has usually one single result, that of quietening the person who prays. For if a prayer is repeated several times, the words end up by making you calm. But that is not sufficient. There is a prayer which is a spontaneous formula for expressing something precise which one wants to ask for. One prays for this thing or the other thing. One prays for one thing or another. One can pray for somebody, for a circumstance, or for one's own self. There is a point when aspiration and prayer meet, for there are prayers which are spontaneous formulation of a lived experience. These spring up already from within the being, like something that's the expression of a profound experience, which offers thanksgiving for that experience, or asks its continuation, or asks for its explanation also. That it is indeed quite close to aspiration. But aspiration is not necessarily formulated in words, for if it is formulated in words, it is always a moment of invocation. You aspire for a certain state, for instance, you found something in yourself that is not keeping with your ideal, a moment of darkness and ignorance, perhaps of even ill will, something that is not in harmony with what you want to realize. Then that is not going to be formulated in words. That will be like a springing flame, like an offering made of a living experience, asking to grow larger, magnified, and more precise and clear. All that must be put in words if one tries to remember and note down one's experience. But aspiration always springs up like a flame that rises high up and carries in itself the thing one desires to be, or what one desires to do or desires to have. I use this word desire, but truly here the word should be aspiration. Aspire should be used, for that does not either have the quality or the form of a desire. It is truly like a great purifying flame of will that it carries in its core, the thing that has to be realized. These are the words from the collective works of Mother, Volume 5, page 139. Next topic, expecting results from a prayer. Question: Sweet Mother, when one prays sincerely for the intervention of grace, doesn't one expect a particular result? For that, our Divine Mother says, excuse me, that depends on the tenor of the prayer. If one is simply invoking the grace or the divine and puts oneself in his hands, and one does not expect a particular result. To expect a particular result, one must formulate one's prayer, ask for something. If you have only a great aspiration for the divine grace, evoke it, implore it without asking for anything precise. It is grace which will choose what is good for you, don't you? That is better, isn't it? That's another question. Why? It is higher in the quality, perhaps. But still, if one wants something precise, it is better to formulate. If one has a special reason for invoking the grace, it is better to formulate it precisely and clearly. Of course, if one is in a state of complete surrender and gives oneself entirely, if one simply offers oneself to the grace and lets to do it what it likes, it is very good. But after that, one must not question what it does. One must not say, oh, I did that with the idea of having this. For if one really has the idea of obtaining something, it is better to formulate it simply, sincerely, just as one sees. Afterwards, it is a grace to choose it and do it in the way it has to be. Whenever it comes, it doesn't do any harm, because naturally it is not bad. That is the will of the divine. You must not think that the divine likes to contradict you. He's not at all keen on doing that. He can say better thing what is really good for you, but it is only when it is absolutely indispensable that he opposes your aspiration. Otherwise, he is always ready to give you what you ask. So all needed is a true sincerity, and all the sincerity is granted. These are the these are the words from the collective works of the Mother, volume 8, page 254.